Hey guys, in this video we're going to go over how HEN1 holds the arch side of Inferno, so let's get started. So usually at the start of the round, when he decides to go towards this mid area, he's going to start the round off by throwing a molotov at T mid like this. And then sometimes he'll actually hold this tunnel angle like so, and the reason for that is because the T's sometimes they'll actually beat this molotov to be able to peek you from this angle like so, which is why HEN1 is holding this. And the main goal of playing towards this mid area this early in the round is to kind of gauge how much pressure the T is going to be putting at you from middle as well as alt mid. So right here we're going to see that Genji, they throw a flash towards alt mid. Because of that, HEN1 has a good idea of what the default is going to be from the T's. This molotov also allows you to actually get more aggressive towards alt middle. So right here we're going to see that HEN1 is going to throw that molotov. That molotov basically pushes the T's back towards the steps area, and it gives HEN1 some space to actually peek more aggressively towards alt. So right here you're going to see that HEN1 is going to take a really deep angle to be able to take down Jacob because that molotov is up. Here we see another example where HEN1 is going to go towards this mid area at the start of the round. Once again, he's going to throw that molotov down towards mid. And if he doesn't meet any immediate pressure, he's going to hold this angle at alt middle. By holding this angle, you get a pretty good feeling of how fast the T's are going to be pushing up on you at mid. So if you happen to notice that somebody crosses this angle in a sloppy way, you can be pretty sure that's probably going to be a fast push. And if it's not a fast push, you can actually decide to take this peek towards the tunnel player. This is a very hard peek to counter for the T's on the other side, so that's why I recommend that you do this if you feel that there isn't any pressure from alt. The thing is about this angle is that you can't hold it forever. After a certain point in time, you're going to be forced to fall back, as the T's, they can be in this apps position, they can actually kill you from boiler. So because of that, you can see that HEN1 is going to fall back towards this arch side area to hold the bracket's entrance. When you're holding this angle at middle, sometimes your porch side teammate will actually smoke mid. And when this happens, you should actually hold the edges of the smoke. So right here, we're going to see that HEN1 is going to hold this left edge of the smoke. Just in case a T decides to push up from this boiler angle, his cross is going to be on him when he passes through the smoke. If the T actually decides to push to the center of the smoke from middle, HEN1 still has an advantage because he's actually going to be able to see him first as he passes through the smoke. When you're playing towards this arch side, if the T's decide to smoke you out, if you have counter utility like a smoke or a molotov, this would be the time to use it because you want to make it difficult for the T's to actually pass through this choke point. So that's what you're going to see here from HEN1 where he smokes mid. He also starts spamming the smoke just in case they actually decide to pass through it. Here we're going to see another example where the T's are going to smoke off arch side. Right here, HEN1 has his teammate Vinny playing towards the cubby. Because of that, HEN1 is going to take a single shot and he's going to fall back towards this moto angle. Now at this point, they have a little bit of a crossfire towards this arch side. Vinny, he's just going to watch the left edge of the smoke. If the player decides to cross over towards the right side of the smoke, HEN1 will have him. And because Vinny is playing so close, he actually has information in terms of sound of how aggressively these T's are actually taking this bracket's area. He doesn't really hear anything, and because of that, HEN1 is actually going to throw a flash to allow Vinny to re-peek towards this bracket's area. After Vinny peeks it, you're going to see that he sees absolutely nothing at bracket. And this is a common play to be able to get information on brackets to allow your arch player to actually rotate back towards B. This is a really common angle from HEN1 towards this mid area. What you're going to see is this angle right here in particular where he holds his crosshair towards mid, but at the same time he leaves just enough room for him to be able to spot towards boiler if somebody comes out. So what you're going to see in this round here is that Steel, his gun barrel is going to stick out, and he's going to land a quick shot onto Zeppa coming out from mid, and because he left himself that small little gap to be able to spot towards boiler, he knows that there's one more player towards his boiler area. So this angle is actually a slight off angle, so right here we're going to see HEN1 is going to take down Vandy as he peeks, that drops the bomb. HEN1 decides to peek again, he gets that second kill and also the third onto Janji. You're going to see from Vandy's point of view when he decides to actually peek towards arches, HEN1's actually at a very slight off angle. A lot of the time you're going to expect this AWPer to be more so on the right side, but because HEN1 has a slight off angle, he has the advantage in this case. One of the most important things about holding this arch side angle is actually determining how much time you have to rotate towards arch versus rotating towards moto after you take your shot. So right here what we're going to see is that Zeppa is going to jiggle peek HEN1 with the molotov, and because HEN1 sees that it's a jiggle, he's not necessarily convinced that the T's are actually going to push up very quickly on him towards bracket. Because of that, he knows he has time to rotate towards moto. A good way to gauge this is whether or not the T's use a flash. So right here we're going to see that C9, they use a flash for mid. HEN1 gets blinded completely. He does not have time to actually rotate towards this moto angle, so he's forced to actually go towards this arch side. He tries to take the next angle here. He also gets blinded, so he's forced back once again, more towards the CT side of arch. Here we're going to see another example where Chaos, they're actually going to use a flash for mid and push up towards arch. Here it's very clear that HEN1 doesn't have time to actually move towards this moto angle. So that's why it's very important to kind of gauge how much time do you actually have to be able to rotate towards arches versus rotating towards moto. However, this flash is not to be confused by this flash here that AWPers like to use, where it simply just bounces off the wall to push a player off the angle. And we see from Automatic's point of view, the way he throws the flash is to simply be able to peek the angle and to also be able to hold it afterwards. So another factor that determines whether or not you fall back from a position is actually just based on your past experience with this opponent. So right here, you're going to see that Chaos, because they throw this arch smoke right away, Henny already knows what's coming, so he's already just going to rotate towards this moto position. He's not going to bother trying to fight it from this choke point because he knows that he's going to be in a really bad spot if he decides to do so. When you're towards this moto angle, you always want to pick and choose your fights. You don't want to go down unnecessarily. So right here we see that Henny, he takes down a Liege, he spots a second, he starts falling back towards site, and then it allows him to basically fall back to a safer position where his teammates can help him. So here we see another example where Henny's going to throw that arch smoke. The T's are going to push right past that smoke, so Henny gets a little bit surprised by Stewie. However, he doesn't give a Liege this full fight. He stays alive, he falls back towards the site, and he gives time for his teammates rotating from B to actually be able to help towards this arch side area. So Henny, he just hides towards the site. Yuri tries to take a fight towards Pit. Henny ends up going down. However, he's bought enough time for Vinny to actually come in for the flank from this arch side area. If the T's decide to do a porch side pop with a moto smoke, it can be very difficult for you to help your teammates. When this happens, you have the option of actually passing through the left side of the smoke to try to find a kill on anybody who might be passing through apps or anybody who might be coming along this truck side area. Unfortunately, Henny misses the shot here. However, you get the idea where if you pass to the left side, you can have the option to actually kill a player here and then fade back into the smoke so the T's can't trade you. Another thing to keep in mind is that you have to be smart about how you decide to actually push through the smoke. Right here we're going to see that Henny's going to find that first kill into Psalm. He's going to be forced back towards the CT library area. He's going to also get smoked off towards library. And here notice that he doesn't actually try to make any attempt at passing through the smoke. And a larger reason for this is because if he ends up dying here, the T's will have an option of actually going through CT spawn to B. He's the only person who's here towards the CT spawn area, so it's not worth it for him to take this particular risk. When you're playing this arch side area, a large responsibility you have is actually controlling how your team rotates. So right here we're going to see that the T's, they've taken bracket control. There's a smoke up on arch side. Henny, he's actually going to push up towards this arch side angle as the T's are starting to leave towards this mid area. What you're going to notice here is that Henny, as he posts up towards this arch side angle, he's actually going to get a bit more aggressive to peek towards bracket. Right here he's not going to see anything, and because he doesn't see anything, he can actually tell his teammates at B to actually stay at B, and there's a possibility that the T's are going to be going back towards B. Henny sees absolutely nothing here. Art, he's able to spot this first kill into Vanity, and that allows Henny to actually rotate back towards B at a very early time. Here we're going to see a situation where the T's are actually going to pressure towards the banana area. So Vinny and Art, they're both going to find kills at the bottom of B here. And what this allows Henny to do is to actually push up towards this arch side area to potentially re-clear towards bracket. The whole reason why he can do this is because he knows that the pressure is towards B. He knows at most there can be one person towards this brackets area, and he's willing to take that chance to get this map control for his team. So Henny's going to re-clear towards brackets. He's able to hold this angle just in time for when Liquid decide to retake towards brackets. And because of that, he's able to take down a Liege as he crosses the angle. Here we're going to see a scenario where the T's, they're actually going to rush up towards this arch side area and to go towards CT. So the T's, they do a pop. Henny's not expecting it. He's not in a position to actually get any clear shots. Because of this, he's just going to fall back towards the site. His initial reaction is to actually smoke off one of the choke points here, because he's aware that the T's could actually come back towards the CT spawn area to wrap towards A. As soon as he sees that's not a possibility, you're going to see he's going to wrap around back towards this brackets area to re-clear towards brackets so that they can rotate through mid to go for the B rotate. So as the arch player, sometimes you're going to have to be tasked with going towards B in a triple B setup. When this happens, your player at A, he needs to make sure he uses his utility to kind of block off the choke points so that they don't get pushed in this time that you're securing B. So right here we're going to see that Henny's going to throw his nades towards B. Quesarado, he's going to throw a flash towards mid. And then he's also going to throw a molotov. Then as Henny starts coming back towards the CT spawn area, Quesarado is also going to throw a smoke at brackets. And then now at this point, Quesarado can rotate back towards the site, and then Henny can simply just take his spot at arch. And by throwing that utility from Quesarado, it ensures that the T's aren't going to push up at this choke point while the CTs have 3 at B. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys liked what you saw, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell for more future content. Thanks again. I'll see you guys in the next one.